stick around. Come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6060 cycle. Who throws hits around?
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wine Down with Kev. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Whether you're watching this live stream on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, or if you're listening to it at a later date on your favorite podcasting platform, thank you. You are appreciated. Special thanks to all of you that have already hit the subscribe and the notification button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We couldn't do it without you. And big thanks to our sponsors. Wait a minute. We don't have any sponsors for this season. We are done with our 50 podcasts, 50 agents, 50 states. We are in a new space. We are kicking off today the hashtag GotAI season. We are going to talk about it. We are back home. We're not all the way across the U.S. We are only talking to, for the next 12 to 16 weeks, I don't know, until I run out of gas, small business owners in the Long Island, New York area. We're asking the GotAI question to see where everybody is in their own AI journey. But before we do all that, we're going to take some time to get to know some amazing business owners. And today, I could not imagine kicking this season off with a bigger and better guest than we have today. Today, we are blessed with the presence of Michele Cole, the owner of the Bijou Experience, the ultimate luxurious event space here on Long Island. It is probably the ultimate event space in New York. Don't take my word for it. Look at the website. Look at her social media at the Bijou Experience. That's BISOU. Almost got caught not spelling experience. Check out the unique things that are going on there. Judge it for yourself. You will not find any place that's bigger and better. But with that being said, please join me in giving a warm welcome and Wine Down with Kev round of applause to our special guest today, Michele Cole.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Hey, Michele, how you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Good. You look amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Michele, introduce yourself to the people. I told them you're the owner of the Bijou Experience, but your life didn't start here. You are a person beyond this. So introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, first, thank you to everyone who supports us, who has had events with us through our first location, which was located in Lindenhurst. We were there for 6 years, and now we've relocated. We are bigger. I can't say better because I always want to say that we were, at peak there, but we have gotten better because we have a lot more features. We have a lot more staff. We're bigger, where we can have other vendors. We're able to employ over 20 other small businesses, and I'm really, really proud of that. And we could do double the amount of events that we did before. So it's really amazing because before we even touched a paintbrush, we were getting bookings up until 2028, and our following is strong. Our following is loyal. We say you're part of our Bijou family. We're not perfect. We've made mistakes, and we try to correct those mistakes, and we learn every day. And we never stop growing. So we do appreciate the support that we have received. We have just made 7 years in business.
Kudos. 7 years in business. So let's celebrate and acknowledge that. Most businesses in America, people, 6 months. That's the lifespan of the average business. More than 50% will go under in 6 months. You have survived 7 years. I was blessed to be invited to the new Bijou Experience while you were under construction. So before we go too far into you, I want to shout out your son and the work he did on the floors. Please plug your son and talk about the quality of floors in the place.
Thank you. Well, I just want to start on just how that even came about. We knew that we were going to get another location. In fact, by now we thought we would have had multiple locations, but the pandemic really changed and altered that vision. When we did our floors the first time, the floors are very expensive to do.
Yes.
So I said, what could I do to cut that cost?
Yes.
So I spoke to my son. I told him, I'm getting ready to do this. This is a sector of business that I think that you can do. I don't think that there's a lot of people doing it, because even when I went to research new people doing it, there wasn't a lot.
Wow.
So I told him, this is something that I think you should do, learn how to do. And he ran with it. So he never went to school.
Wow.
So it was talking to other people, learning from other people, YouTube videos, practicing. And that practice came by my first move. And I had him working on rooms that we didn't necessarily need epoxy in it, but he was just practicing, and he was practicing, and he had other people who worked with him who were great, and they got to learn a skill and they got to learn a trade. So now he's starting his business, and he's bringing in other people who didn't have jobs, who didn't have career paths, and now they're being taught how to do it. So it's really been an amazing journey, and he's bringing in young men to learn with him on that journey. And I love that. And that's Artisan Epoxy. So when you do come to Bijou, all the floors are done from him. And from the floors there, he's gotten multiple jobs. He's gotten an animal hospital. He's going to start traveling, because he's doing other event spaces in other states.
I love it. Artisan Epoxy. The floors are beautiful. They're incredible. They're noticeable. I'm a person that travels the country. You'll see me. You'll see where I go and what I do. And it pops. I'm also the son of an office cleaner. So floors, like, I zone in on the quality of floors, just like a natural look for me. And I love every aspect of that story, from your son learning this by himself, having a kinesthetic experience. There's also the learning styles. There's the audible learning style, I learned by listening, the visual, I learned by looking, and then kinesthetic, which is the combination of both.
Right.
And now, not only does he have a business, but he's also empowering his friends. So you're going to get a lot of jewels listening to this podcast. That is just the first of many to follow. I can't have you talk about your son without mentioning your daughter, who is a major social media influencer.
Yes. So she's in college, and she's been doing little businesses, drinks, nails, makeup. She's in just to a lot of different things. And I told her, we're now in this new place and we need help.
Yes.
So I know it sounds weird, but I sent her to balloon school. And she's getting a lot of balloon jobs. And where it sounds funny, she's doing really well from that. And then aside from that, at the other space, we hired a lot of vendors to do things that weekly. So I said, let me try to do something different and bring it into family. So her and my best friend, daughter, they created an entertainment company called Showstoppers Entertainment. And now they're doing live entertainment. Them too, what they started doing is they started going to classes. Now they're getting ready to start giving classes, and they're live greeters. They are getting ready to employ other people to help with their company as it's starting to grow. So on our social media page, those live greeters are coming from Showstoppers Entertainment. Owner is Kennedy and Jada. And so we're so proud to see what they're doing.
Listen, people, this is what y'all need to know about Kev. Kev stay learning. I'm a lifelong learner. I take notes. Go to the Bijou Experience IG page, everywhere that it's at, and you'll see the Showstoppers there. They upscale events. It's different. I'm not going to attempt to describe what I've seen. You got to visualize it yourself. I'll simply co-sign and endorse it that it's awesome. So, Michele, eventually we're going to talk about the Bijou Experience, but this entrepreneur spirit that's in your family that you've taught to your kids, offline we talked, it didn't start with you.
No.
You are the daughter of an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Okay.
So my mother was an accountant for Paramount Pictures, and she did that. And then she was also a diamond dealer and jeweler in the Diamond District long before it became the cool thing to do. So we always had a lot of jewelry because of my mother, and she also started designing clothing. So as she started designing clothing, she opened a boutique in Queens, and she would do dress shows, she would do fashion shows, she would do a little bit of everything. And she dragged me every weekend because I was the person who packed things up. I was taking the money. I was doing her billing, because everything back then is by hand.
Yes.
Receipt books.
Yes.
And I'm like, Mom, I just want to go out and play.
Yes.
No, I had to go with her. And my payment was, I would get all the samples of clothing. I would have all the coolest clothes for school. So I'm like, okay, this, and she would slide me a $20 here and there, but she made me go, and she made me see. So I never realized that she was putting into me.
Mm-hmm.
And even when it was time for me to go to college, my first major was accounting, following her. And then within months of starting school, I went straight into a business. So I paused going to school so I could open that business. And same thing like I did with my daughter. I had people were coming to me and said there was no Black-owned nail salons in Harlem.
Okay.
So I said, I could do that.
Yes.
So I went to nail school. And I was like, I can't be an owner without without knowing everything. So I do believe that when you do business, you have to know every facet of that business. So if someone doesn't show up, you have to be able to take the reign on everything. So I didn't want to just own a nail salon. I wanted to know how to do nails.
Right.
So I went to nail school, and while I was in nail school, I started looking for locations in Harlem, and I found one. When we're planning to make that move, people are like, it's a bad move because people only want to go to Asian-owned nail salons.
Ooh.
I said, we could do something different. So we're going to do it differently. We're going to build something luxury. We're going to have the first Black-owned nail salons. I'm going to go to schools. I'm going to take people from those schools, and we're going to do it. We're going to have products that were more about nail care. It wasn't bulk products, and we just did something differently. We started off, opened the doors. There was no one there. We went out. We talked to everyone in the neighborhood. Within 3 years, we were the most popular first Black-owned nail salon in Harlem.
Okay, I got to get a time out here. This is so crazy to me. I know Harlem. I love Harlem. I heard what you said about the thought of no one would come to a Black-owned nail salon. Harlem population, my Black audience, my white audience, my Latino audience. What year is this? And then we'll talk. I have the demographics in my head. I can talk about it really easy.
I have to do some calculations.
About 2000, early 2000s? One question. Is it post-gentrification Harlem? Is it before or after Bill Clinton?
Before.
Before, okay.
So I would say I graduated from high school. Do I really want to say
Don't tell your age.
So I would say it was like 1992.
All right. Pre-gentrification Harlem.
It was just, it wasn't beginning, but you would see sprinkles. Back then, everyone was trying to sell their brownstones at bottom basement pricing.
$100,000 or less.
Yes.
Now they're worth millions. You can't even have the conversation. I timelined it by pre or post Bill Clinton, because once he got out of office, I want to say 2000, and he opened up an office on 125th Street. Magic Johnson then opens up the movie theaters. Mm-hmm. And now 125th Street looks like middle America. Yes. With every major franchise. So it's like a pivotal point in history to know that. But the grind in Harlem, my mother, born in South Carolina, raised in Harlem, my first cousins, big family in Harlem, spent a lot of time there, love going to Harlem to this day. But the population, it is Black Mecca, if you will, for many businesses dating back to 100 years ago, the Harlem Renaissance. So we had so many businesses there. To not have a nail salon is like major to me. That was an opportunity. But as an entrepreneur, that's the key to the vision. You have to provide a service that wasn't there. So kudos to you for seeing it, and then overcoming all of those thoughts and hurdles, because to this day, it's 2025, people won't open up ABC business because nobody is going to come. Where does your drive come from, knowing the thought processes that people have about that? Where does your drive come in the confidence to say, I heard everything everybody said, but I'm still going to do it?
I guess I'm hard-headed. I'm hard-headed, and I have I think I can spirit.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna go even further back.
Okay.
One of my very first jobs was at McDonald's.
Okay.
And I was 14, and they were like, females cannot cook back because we could only do drive-through and the front counter. You have to be a certain age to be a assistant manager or a manager. I'm like, I don't believe that. So I would go in 2 hours earlier than my shift, because back then, dating myself, they're VHS tapes.
Okay.
And I would go through all the catalogs. I'm like, there's nothing there that says an assistant manager can't be 16.
Wow.
There's nothing there that says females can't cook. It's just you never did it. So I went in and I trained myself on those videos, and then I went to the general manager. I said, can I cook? Because I know how to make everything. To the point that first I met a lot of opposition, and then finally they said yes. We had a whole so from there we had an all-female cooking team in McDonald's in Rosedale. I always shout out Queens.
Yes.
And then they put me on as assistant manager trainee at 16 years old. So I'm very, very competitive. It's if I accept a no, it's because I really can't get it done. So I see a no as a challenge, like, no, I can figure this out, and I'm gonna figure it out. So I was assistant manager trainee at 16 years old at McDonald's, and that's just kind of who I am. I can figure this out.
I love it. All my salespeople, all my insurance agents that are struggling with no and not closing sales and not overcoming objections, y'all better listen to Michele. She not playing with the word no over here. And you're going to see this pattern repeated throughout our conversation. I don't want to plug McDonald's because they're not sponsoring the podcast. So very, very briefly, how valuable has that? I've never worked at a McDonald's. Mm-hmm. I've heard nothing but good things about McDonald's University and how efficient they are in their process training. How much, just seeing that systematic training, even though they tried to block you out of it, how much has that benefited you in other business ventures in your life, just knowing that there's a process for everything?
I would say it was one of the best foundations, aside from what I learned from my parents, who were hardworking individuals. It was a foundation for me. So it pushed me, and it showed me that I can push myself, and there's systems in place, but systems can be changed, and systems can be, adapted to different things. And before I go and say, I want something, well, let me show you what I can do to substantiate me wanting that. So if you tell me no, there's no reason, because I could do all of these things.
Watched all of the videos. Entrepreneurs out there not hiring young people, stop that.
Yes.
Stop that. They can do more than you think they can do. You watched all the VHS tapes. You self-trained yourself. Fast forward 30 years later, your son self-trains himself to learn how to install epoxy floors on video.
I never saw that.
There's connectivity in
Yes.
it. There's a connectivity in being a self-starter. All right. Let's jump in the Bijou Experience.
Right.
The impetus for it, as a mom, you were given next level events for your kids.
Yes.
I'm a parent and a grandparent. By about age 7 on Long Island, you've been everywhere. You've been to, well, let's talk about your parties first. Tell me what a preteen party was like for one of the cool kids.
So it wasn't even just preteen, and I'll get to theirs. It was starting from my son's first birthday.
Yes.
And this is, again, dating myself. This is, we're going through, our Google was Yellow Pages.
Yes.
And it was, how do you figure things out? You're driving places, you're getting to know people, you're knocking on doors. So I wanted to give him a carnival. I wanted to do a block party carnival in Queens. I wanted to shut down 2 blocks. Back then, because I had to shop in Harlem, which I loved being there. We were so connected with in the know with Rough Riders.
Oh, yeah.
That's when they became.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted the Rough Riders to come.
DMX, talk about it. Let's go. Come on.
Loved it. So I wanted to have them come through this block party and bring all their motorcycles. And I'm like, we're going to have the best block party. When the kids come, we're going to put them on ponies, bring them to these bounce houses. And it was just stuff that just wasn't done before. We had Batmans coming out from different backyards. So it was just this great party. And then from there, people started calling me for advice for their own kids' party. So I'd give them the advice, and then my family would say to me, "You know that advice?
Yeah.
You can get paid for that." So I didn't listen. Now I did his second party, his third party, and to the point that people were reaching out to me to see what was the date of his party so they could build their vacations around the events that I'm having. And again, my family came to me. They said, "You need to do something," but I'm still in the nail salon. And as my son turned 5, I wanted to be able to be at home a little bit more because I'm in the shop in Harlem. I'm living in Long Island, and I missed a lot of him.
Got you.
So now I want to be able to be a part of him going into school. So I wound up selling. I did have a satellite nail salon in Queens as well. So
Okay.
I had 2. I wound up selling that to try to pivot to do something else. And then I started Royal Celebrations for just kids. And I would only do kids events. So when the average party isn't good enough for your little prince or princess. And then I started getting asked for sweet 16s and other things. So then I just kept pivoting from there. So their events were always major. My son, when he turned 13, he was there was a lot of bar mitzvahs going around. I said, you know what? We're going to do our version, no disrespect to any culture or religion, but we did our bro mitzvah.
Okay. I like that.
I found a brand new club that was getting ready to open, and their inaugural event was my son's 13th birthday. And we shot videos. It was just major. It was just major. So all their events.
The bro mitzvah, did his Hasidic and Jewish friends, did they come and enjoy the bro mitzvah?
They did.
I love it. I love it.
And that's just who we are with diversity. When it came to just going back for the kids' parties, we never separated by religion, by color. We were those people that if he had a party, we invited the entire class. When he had a 5th grade party, we invited the entire grade. I rented out Dave and Buster's because we wanted to always create a very inclusive environment. I'll tell you that we've had parties where parents would call me in tears saying their kids had never been invited to a birthday party. So I've always taught my kids, they were always on the popular side, what's considered popular. I would always tell them, if you see somebody sitting down by themselves at lunch, imagine if that was you.
Yes.
So they would always I would always take extra snacks, go sit with them. And they would come home, Mom, I sat with someone new.
Yes.
And those people were always invited to our parties. So always inclusive. I remember my son being a young Black boy, he wasn't always invited to parties. And I remember in 3rd grade, him being upset that he wasn't invited to the pool parties and all that. I said, it's okay. We're going to start having the best parties.
Yes.
We're going to have the parties and we're going to we're not going to exclude everyone. We're going to include everyone. In fact, we're going to invite the parents.
Yes.
So we were having Halloween family parties. I turned my house, I opened it up where they could all come into my house from the neighborhood. We just always provided an inclusive party environment. So no one was left behind. No one was crying at their house because they didn't get invited to a party. And then all the kids got T-shirts to wear on Mondays to say that they had came to his party or her party.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We see a pattern here that's developing long before you open the event space, which is really taking care of people from all walks of life. And kids can be mean at that young age. It feels really bad to be excluded. I know with children at the early age, if you're bringing in cupcakes and stuff like that, you have to bring one for everybody. Even invitation at the earlier ages, you're supposed to invite the whole class, or you distribute no invitations at all. But as they get older, some deviated with it. So we see the foundations of you going into the event space. We see the natural progression from kids to sweet 16s. And obviously the adults are like, I don't have no sweet 16. I want my 21st. I want my 30th, my 40th, so on and so forth. The background is clear. 7 years ago, you opened the Bijou Experience.
Well, no, we started off with Bijou Event Space.
Okay.
So basically what that was is being in the event industry. Right before that, I had a mobile spa for girls to kind of marry my experience with the nail salon and with the spa business and with the event business. So we were just doing mobile spas and doing pedicures, manicures, bring robes, full parties in hotels and homes and event centers. And then again, doing other events, other types of events. So I would see that there was a void in the event industry. So you have people who your choices were either VFW, again, no disrespect to them, but that's a certain type of event space. And then you have a country club and the big catering halls. So you have people who want something a little bit nicer than this, but don't necessarily have all the money to go here.
Yes.
So that was the lane that I decided to carve into. And that's how Bijou was born. The name, the logo, everything was born before I even found a location, because what I do is I'm old school. I still write in marble notebooks. I've always had from high school a marble notebook of all my ideas, all the business I can do, and what I would need to do. Because again, we didn't have computers. Dating myself, we didn't have computers. We didn't have notes in their phone. So it was marble notebooks. And till this day, now we're in a modern age, I still have marble notebooks. If you meet with me, I either have my laptop, but I have 3 notebooks, each categorized into what type of meeting that this is. So with those marble notebooks, I was sketching out, I put in there, I am going to open an event space. Now that we're in a modern time.
You better write this down.
In this phone, before I found my location in Farmingdale, I put to find a place in Farmingdale. I will open something bigger than where I'm at. I will have this, I will have that. And everything that I put in my notes, it came true.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a time out right here. I was listening to something that inspired me every morning. This morning I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and he was talking about how important it is that we talk nice to ourselves. So we can blame some outsiders for saying various things to us to rub us the wrong way, gender-based, race-based, whatever it might be. But the most important thing is how we talk to ourselves, because we're with ourselves 24 hours a day. And when you speak in the affirmative, tell me if you agree or disagree, and you speak in the affirmative that I am, I will, I can, and I must, you're kicking in the law of attraction. You're inviting these things as a definite. You don't use negative words like I might, I try, I'm thinking about.
When I get there, if I do deviate to those type of words, I'll stay there for a minute, and it's almost, there's a switch inside that, no, I have to come back from there. Yeah. So there's when you're looking at being an entrepreneur, there's something deep inside of you that you have to tap into. That's your motivator. That's your constant motivator. So on the days when you're like, I can't do this, and then that's your internal motivator. And of course, surrounding yourself with great people. But your internal, there's a switch that when you start going down and you start sinking, I'm like, no, this is not me. I can't go out like this. There's something that switch comes on. And once you've tapped into that switch a couple times throughout your life, throughout your entrepreneurial life, it comes in. It's there.
Beast mode.
Yeah. You know what? That's what I always say. I go into a beast mode.
I love it.
So there's times that I get there. I get there. And then my other motivation is, believe it or not, when I'm in the car, is music.
Yes.
There's I have playlists that, okay, this is my playlist to help me get to the mood that I need to be, to help me motivate. Even when people are in the gym, they have playlists. You need a playlist for life.
Tell what's the playlist that gets you back? What's the playlist? What's on that playlist? Who you listening to? Don't.
It depends on what mood I'm in.
Okay.
I'm a Jay-Z fan.
All right, so go ahead. You say it. I'm gonna tell a Jay-Z story right after.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I am a Jay-Z fan. So if I feel like I'm in that beast mode and I got this, I try to stay on the side of humility. But if there's a time that I'm like, no, I'm that person. We're that business. Yes. Because I rarely get a chance to step back and say, we really are the shit.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I don't do that.
Say
but
that.
Sometimes through music, I can say that, because again, as a business owner, we have to stay here.
You got to go there. So if I could share, this weekend I'm listening to this past weekend I was listening to Jay-Z in reverse order. First album, Reasonable Doubt, to End My Lifetime's The Blueprint, because I had to get to a certain place. I had to tap into hunger. I had to go back to 97 when he's releasing it, because that dude's a different dude than who Kev is today. And you got to tap into it. And you mentioned Rough Riders earlier. You can't listen to DMX and be down.
No.
That will pick you up.
Yes.
That'll pump you up. That'll get you off your butt and doing what you got to do. So you couldn't have said anything better about your playlist other than Jay-Z and realizing you're not a businesswoman. You are a business, period.
Yes.
Where's my money? Where's my money?
You know, and sometimes those are hard calls to make because being a female in business, we're not always received well because they look at women like they're going to be soft. They're not going to make those hard calls. And I don't make those hard calls to be mean or to be called the B word. I don't know if we could curse on here.
Be yourself.
Yeah. I don't know. We have to make those calls. And when we make those calls and those tough decisions on the no, it's because this is years of investment, is years of building, is years of financial investment, is years of putting all that we have into this business. It's so many other businesses that ride on this business that, yes, I have to say no because I want to uphold a certain standard with what we do. I've built this for us because out there, they don't necessarily want us.
Right.
So how do we continue to be great if you want to try to do something that could take that away? So when I do make a tough call, it's not because I don't like you. It's not because I don't want your business. It's because we have to do it a certain way. So when you come looking for discounts, and sometimes we want to give that, but our utilities don't have discount days. No. And it's a lot to survive in business. As a Black business, what other business takes one step, we take 5 for their one step. Right. So I think sometimes that's a missing link and misunderstood when doing business with Black businesses.
Absolutely. It's a different thing. It's a sensitive issue, deeply rooted in our community. I always encourage people to support businesses right away. If someone opens a restaurant, you don't have a month to hear about how their food is. You got to buy some food today so they can pay rent this month. Yes. It's very, very important. Every business needs your support. So the comments might be blowing up right now. Say yes, 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 yes. But be the person that supports other people so you can get it in turn. So Michele, when I podcast, I like to let people get to know my guests, all about my guests, not about me. And they've gotten to know you. Definitely, I'll fall in love with you. I want them to like my guests and do business with them. And you are on this wonderful journey from doing it for your kids to doing it for others. Open the Bijou event space. I think I was at your first event, Tanya Crawford's 50th birthday party. I've been there for many other events that I knew, loved, had a great time at. But then when I visited with you earlier this year under construction, I learned that there was a patch and a very difficult journey in the Bijou event space that led you to move that I didn't know about. Want to talk about that journey?
Sure. So in our last location, I don't want to necessarily say the location because everyone knows who our location is.
That's okay. And we're not going to give any credit to anybody or any community that doesn't deserve our time or attention. So
our last location wasn't in a diverse neighborhood. Everyone that came in to see us, they was like, how did you even get in here? And why did you choose here? This was not the place for a Black-owned business. And I'm, again, being that resilient, I'm like, we could go wherever we want. Right. Because I know what we provide, and I know what we are, and I know what we can be. And let me show the world who, as Black people, what we are and what we can be and how fabulous we are. So we were not well received there. I want to comment just on the fabulosity of the location. From the pull-up, I like the aesthetic of events before I get there. My producer that's behind the camera right now, he and I grabbed dinner last week at a nice place from the aesthetic, from the approach. The aesthetic from the outside of the Bijou was excellent. Thank you. All white building, all white floor to ceiling, interior, everything was first class. Please continue. Thank you for that. And every week, like you said, from Tanya, she was like one of our first events. They pulled up in limos. There's
Yes.
limos, there's cars, there's horse and carriages. Aside from the caliber of events that we have, you have people coming in suits and ties. We hosted so many galas, so many fundraisers. We gave back to the community. We donated bounce houses. We donated to the school. We were a satellite, for a testing place for COVID. We opened our doors for that. There was, when we found out that there was a time when people were not able to eat in the pandemic before the checks popped in, all of our vendors, we came together and we gave out pizza, cupcakes, and we were going to houses and delivering food to people. So aside from everything that we did, it still did not make a difference because we were still known as the Black owned business, and transparently we were known as the circus with the monkeys in it until the day that I left. That was who we were known to in the neighborhood. The mayor was great with us. The chambers there, I only at face value, because when it came to the pandemic, they never checked on us because we were the very last business to open. They didn't check on us. Whatever programs they weren't offered to us, and we never asked for us. Our guests were ticketed differently when they came to Bijou, all the way to the day that we left. A lot of people don't know this. We were actually attacked, physically attacked. They came into the building. They were breaking our stuff, get out, N-words. Our social media was attacked. Our social media was attacked many, many times. Our Google reviews were attacked by fake reviews. Never go to that restaurant. They have bed bugs. And it's hard to remove fake reviews.
Right.
But we got it. We went through hell there. We went through hell.
So let me just comment on it. So just so much. The pain of your journey, and I know some parts of the story, and I know what you're sharing with me now. Mm-hmm. We talked a lot about history, but we're not talking 1950 or 1990. We're talking 2024.
Yes.
Long Island, New York.
Yes.
Local. Very large, very diverse county, Long Island. I think 2.8, 4.5 million people between Nassau and Suffolk County. Very, very diverse population. These are things that should not happen anywhere to anyone, anytime, under any circumstances. And a lesser person, Michele, a lesser entrepreneur would have folded under these circumstances. But somehow that 14 to 16-year-old girl that did not accept no for an answer was resilient, and you made it through.
Resilient silently, because I never put it out there what we were going through. They were Facebook groups. We don't want those people there. Let's get torches. Let's go down there. Let's attack them. That's how hard they were going. But I did it. I fought it in silence, because transparently, my permits, when I have to go up every year, I have to go up in front of those boards. Mm-hmm. I still wanted this business. I loved my business. I hated going there, but I loved my business. Then I have a certain responsibility to all the booked clients. Mm-hmm. So I could fight this. I could be vocal, but then I'm ruining someone's wedding that they've booked a year ago. I'm ruining events, and I just didn't take that stance. So I dealt with it in silence, and it was hard. Every time that people will send me a post that they've made about us, that's not true. The narrative was just not true. And when there's parades, we're waving. We have, you need to use the bathroom, come inside. Very, very opening business. And it just didn't matter.
While you're going through this attack on your business, you also went through a personal health journey.
Yes. So the attack on the business continued for 6 years, straight until when we left. And we never felt protected. Then we had the pandemic that closed us for quite a long time. Our entire calendar completely disappeared. And I do want to say that I'm really proud that everyone's event who was canceled, we rescheduled everyone. There was a lot of spaces and catering halls where people lost money. No one lost a dime with us.
Beautiful.
We rescheduled everyone. And was that hard financially? Absolutely.
Yes.
But no one lost a dime. And I still gave it to them at the same price that they were booked for.
Beautiful.
So I'm really proud about that.
You should be.
And then right when we came out the pandemic, and I say this again as a learning, I was having a routine day. I'm like, oh, I have a little time this week. I'm going to go and get all my health screenings. I'm going to go. So there was nothing wrong with me. Nothing. I felt no pain, nothing. I was like, I'm going to go to get my mammo. And then after that, I'm going to go to the olive oil store because I'm a little corny. I like tasting olive oils for cooking and having different olive oils for cooking. So that was my plan for the day. And as I'm leaving, they were like, we think we see something. And that spiraled in. We need you to come back. We do see something. We need to test. And yes, you have breast cancer. So that became, I'm like, wait a minute. So honestly, I was like, I can't do this now. We can do this. Let me come back.
Right.
Because I have all these events coming in. My daughter's getting ready to turn 21. I have a trip plan. I have a 21st birthday plan.
Breast cancer, and I got events.
So I was like, I'm going to come back. I'm not going to deal with this. And my friends, my best friend, she was like, that's not what's going to happen.
Right.
You're going to have this surgery.
Yes.
And you're going to stop everything now. And I, along with everyone in Bijou, we're going to get things in place so that you can go take care of yourself. So she really pushed me. I'm like, I'm not listening to you.
Right.
So I did go through it. So I haven't, and then I had to go through 2 surgeries. I had to go through radiation. And then that kind of took me out for almost a year, because then your body has to recover after that. And I don't talk about it very often, but I think that because I have, when you talk about Tanya, who had a breast cancer journey, who was so severe, I'm like, mine wasn't severe. So mine, I'm not a survivor. But what I might not be a survivor to her magnitude, but what I can be is a teacher.
Yes.
Because what I was categorized as after everything said and done was stage 0. So they said early detection and that being on top of my health care amidst a busy schedule, that's what stopped it. So had I not say I'm going to go and get these health screenings, who knows where that would have manifested. So I might not be in the stage 3 and 4, and those are the real heroes.
You are, but let me say this: you're dropping so many jewels on this podcast. That is a pure commercial for early detection.
Yes.
To go for a routine exam where you got 1,000 other things going on and get discovered at stage 0. I've been involved in the fight against breast cancer for many, many years. Lost my sister-in-law last year. 7 years ago, lost my best friend to a different type of cancer. So I'm very comfortable talking about it. But stage 0 means that it hasn't penetrated the skin, the blood, the muscle, the tissue. It's not traveling. So you caught it exactly at the right time. So that's a big takeaway for anybody listening, but please continue.
Yes. So just talking about that, the way they caught it, and just to err on the side of caution, they still cut out the entire area.
Yes.
And then for cancer, you have to go, there's a certain marker that you have to go beyond that to call yourself safe. Mm-hmm. So I had that first surgery done. And then my surgeon was like, you know what? The marker is not cleared enough. We want you to have a second surgery. So we went right back in. I did that second surgery, lymph nodes removed. And again, I'm like, can we do that? My daughter has, I've promised her, I'm like, if something is going to happen to me, allow me to just do this 21st birthday with her. So that second surgery pushed me back. And now we have all these plans. So my surgeon said, go heal. I mean, the trip was to Hawaii. She's place she's always wanted to go.
Beautiful place.
She told me, go heal there.
Nice.
So I was like, I don't think I could get on a plane with these stitches and everything and travel for 12 hours. But what we do for our kids,
we do what we have.
I got on that plane and I sat in the hotel from the window and I watched them have a good time.
I love it.
I stayed in bed.
And you were there.
I was there.
We are getting to know you, that you're going to finish what you start no matter what. Business challenges, personal health challenges, and then the ultimate, you lose your mom.
Yes. My mom was, that happened 2 months after I opened the first location. And I could tell you all these years later, I'm still in grief, but I'm in a better place. So it's really hard because it was an unexpected death. I'm sad that I want to go back. On my grand opening, they say give people their flowers while they're here.
Yes.
At my grand opening, my mother's favorite color was purple. So I did a purple event. I had a special queen cheer for her. I presented flowers to her, and I thanked her for everything that I was up until that point. When I had my press conferences, my mother was on the side. She was the only one invited. She was the one cheering.
Yes.
She was, when I got my first booking, Mom, I just got booked.
Yes. Yes.
So she was my biggest cheerleader. So to lose her devastated me, and I never came out that darkness. And it was really, really hard to go and do events where there's mothers there, there's people dancing, there's celebrating, and I'm like, how are they celebrating? I'm devastated. So I would go in about 6 hours before every event to make sure it's set up, whether we're doing decor, and I would leave because I couldn't handle watching a celebration. But my commitment to the clients, I still made sure every event went well, and through the team that was with me, they made sure it went well, and I was able to just come back and cry all day and come back the next day, and I would just ask them, just leave me alone, because I would just cry all day.
Right.
What pulled me out of that, and again, I shared that with you earlier because I was in such a dark place, is my daughter had a really bad car accident. A year after my mother passed away, she had 160 staples in her face and head, and I was pulled out of that darkness because I'm like, now her mom needs to take care of her. So I took
Yes.
care of her. Then the pandemic hit, and it allowed me to stay at home and help her heal from there.
Well, thank God for your strength. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing everything. If you've never been here before, and say something nice in the comments. This is Michelle's first podcast. She is just like talking from the inside of her heart and sharing just the realest stuff that you could possibly go through. And I appreciate you sharing the dark times. People see what we post. They see the beauty of the events. They see the celebration. They see the people. One thing you said about people's celebrations, I didn't know until, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I was heavily involved with the Wine and Family Day Committee, and Mother's Day was always a day we did a fundraiser. And you have a lot of people that you're involved, that you sell tickets to, that you count on coming. And then many people that were also on the committee would say, Kevin, I got you every place but here because on Mother's Day, I can't come out. I said, you can't come out? I said, yeah, because this is my day to grieve. And a mistake that we made and that I've made, and I don't make anymore, I lost my mom. This is 2025. I lost her in 2013 when I turned 50. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. One thing that people say is, I understand how you feel. I don't say that anymore, Michele, because your grief is your grief. My grief is my grief. If it's connecting to you to spend all day crying and feel close to your mom, then that's your grief. And no one can time your journey, your grieving time. No one can say, chop, chop, let's come out of it. You can't. You got to give people their time. So we had a wonderful conversation. We had to stop talking to start the podcast because that was darn good.
Yes.
And I'm grateful that we got back here.
Yes.
So come on into today. Through it all, people, through everything, through adversity, through personal attacks, physical attacks, verbal attacks, you pivot. You find a new location, and your location is next level, amazing, quality beyond quality. See the space. I'm not going to attempt to give the words to describe it. At the Bijou Experience everywhere.
Right.
See the space. But there's some planning that you put into the space that most people don't have.
Right.
Your big room is massive, built-in DJ booth. Your reception area, gorgeous, carefully, meticulously picked furniture. You have a smaller room for workshops. You have a changing room for brides. And the thing that jumped out at me, I was there for the Vanette's event. My granddaughter DJ'd at that event. You have a kids room. You showed me the kids room before the event. You have a kids room that's fully built out for a toddler's play area in case someone needs to come with kids. They don't have that sitter. What part of your heart does that come in that you would build that into your event space?
Well, let me explain what we did in the building. When you talk about a process, when I knew that it was time for us to move out of that location for a multitude of reasons, I did not set out looking for this size of a building. I didn't. I had brokers, and I had 3 different brokers. Some worked well with me, some did not, because again, we are a Black-owned business.
Yes.
So going to certain places, I still have letter of intent. I still have checks out there. And when they realize that we're a Black-owned business, we stopped hearing from them.
2025.
20, well, yeah,
New
2025. To the point that some of my Black family of darker skin, I would have to say that they were my contractors just so I could get them in to see the place to give me their opinion. So again, when I set out, I felt now you're starting to challenge me.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're giving me too many no's, because I got 5 no's before this, and I was devastated. I'm like, because now I'm getting ready to close this, and I don't have a home to go into because I wanted to have the bridge.
Right.
So I was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
I almost could not breathe. So I kept seeing places, kept getting turned down, kept getting no responses. And my intent was to go 3,500 square feet.
Okay.
We found this place, and I'm like, oh, this is a dream. Maybe one day in the future, after I do this one, I'm going to aspire for that.
Yes.
And then I sat there. I was like, I love it so much. I was like, maybe I can do it.
Yes.
And, you know, my close friends, they was like, you can do it.
Yes.
Other people were like, have you lost your mind? They was like, there's just no way.
Fear factor.
Yes, there's just no way. And I say that if your dreams are comfortable, then you're not dreaming big enough.
My words, I love it.
So I'm like, I think I can. I think I can. And it took 3 months for the building owner. I had to meet him a couple times, and he says, you know what, I'm going to give you a chance, because he says the size of this building, he reserved it because he wanted a national chain in there. He did not want a small business.
Yes.
But he says, I've met you. I've done some research. I've gone to your old location. And he's like, something about you, I want to give you a chance.
Let's go.
And he gave me that chance.
Let's go.
So we signed our lease. We went in. And after I signed the lease, and after now I'm fully committed, I'm like, this is too big. I can't do this. I spent so many nights like, what the hell did I do? But little by little, you know, when we talk about my mother, and I felt like I did not even know, because I knew what I needed to do budget-wise for what I was initially going to do. So I signed all these leases, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't even afford to do this. I'm like, because I'm going to be freaking selling everything off for this.
Right.
But when you talk about sacrifice, I sat there one day in there by myself, and I cried and I cried. I'm like, I can't do this. Then I'm like, you know what? I think I can do it.
Yes.
So, but to do it, I'm going to have to now dig deep into that switch, and I'm going to have to figure it out. And when you want something bad enough, you find those ways. How did I find those ways? There's no more luxuries for me. There's no more going to a nail salon. I went to a Dollar Tree and I did my own nails because I knew how to do nails.
There you go. There you go.
There's no doing my hair. There's no traveling. There's no, if I might choose this ribeye Wagyu steak, nope, tuna fish.
We'll come down a level.
We're going to come down a million levels.
Yes.
Because that's the sacrifice that it takes to get there. So I was like, I've had all of that, but now I'm going to come down. Spoke to my family, and I spoke to them about sacrifice. I said, for the next 2 years, we are sacrificing. Everything that you think that you like to do, no.
I mean, this word sacrifice, this word sacrifice is a word. It might as well be the most profanity-laced word in the world, because people just don't understand the sacrifice of the entrepreneur to build in a luxury event space so others can have a good time. But in the meantime, Michelle's going to dial back.
We did
And
everything.
the family's going to dial back.
I could tell you where every $4 and $5 value meals on Long Island are. And that's real.
I'm not mad at you. So
when another thing about the building is, little by little, because of the process that I went through, because of the, when they ask for credentials, I had every credential. I had the history, I had the credentials, I had the credit scores, I had the resources in the bank, anything. You want references, what do you need?
Right.
I have it for you. Matter of fact, if you want 3, I have 10.
Yes.
So because the process was so hard for an established business, I decided that I want to see what I can do to open a door for other Black businesses so that they don't have to go through that same process. So I had this big building and I said, I can bring other small businesses into this building. And that's what we did. So when you talk about the soft play area, that although it's in the building, it's not my business.
Got it.
It's a business by Soft Play To Go, and that's her space, her building, her everything. So that's a small business. We have another room, which is Competitive Edge Studio, and that is a specialty dance training studio with classes, and they're doing phenomenally. Now they have their own business. So now we have 2 businesses in the main building. We have my daughter, who's right now, my son is, as we speak right now, they're doing a room for her because she's now going to have a makeup studio and business in there. My son's office is in there for Artisan Epoxy, and we have Showstoppers Entertainment. Their room is in there as well. So when we talk about how do we come together as a Black community, how do we have Black power, that's how. So when I set out to do the building, I set out to do it by myself. And my philosophy is I could have a table, a bountiful of table, and I could eat alone. But I don't want that. I'd rather have a smaller table and bring everyone to eat with me. So if that means that takes away something that I might want luxury, I don't care. It makes me so happy to see them booked, to see them thriving. And that's how we do it. So there's a lot of other cultures. If you look at the way they work,
Together.
They work together.
They work together. The other cultures, the dollar circulates in the community 7 times. Ours comes and goes. So let me come here. I mean, this is beautiful, but we got to begin to land the plane. But we got some teasers that we're gonna put out there. I do want to wrap that up. I want to put a button on that by saying collaboration over competition, because at the top of the world, people are collaborating. All the big companies, Apple is not competing with Samsung, Android. They work together.
Can I interject on that?
Please,
right
go
there?
for it. Go for it.
When you talk about working together, there's a few other event spaces on Long Island. When I was closed, I have all these clients that I have to take to. I could have canceled those people, given them back their money. I chose not to. I reached out to all the event spaces, the Black-owned event spaces. I said, listen, what's your calendar looking like? I want to bring you my clients.
Yes.
I'm going to pay you everything that was paid to me. And I'm going to, if you need me to work the events, I'll work the events. So, and those event space owners were amazing. We now speak to each other.
I love it.
So we're not competition. We're like, hey, do you go through this? Do you go through this?
Yes.
So we don't see each other as competition. We're like, let's help each other.
Yes.
So if I don't have a date, I call them. Do you have this date available?
Excellent.
Let me send someone to you.
Excellent.
And that's how we keep it together. So I love that part. I just love that. Like, that makes me so happy.
Well, it's beautiful. Collaboration over competition. I have the pleasure in a few months, I'm going to be the platinum sponsor of an event that Tanya Crawford is going to host in your space, where we're going to bring small businesses together. We're going to do a small business and AI expo. So everybody listening to this, follow in a affair with Flair everywhere online. Get booked. There will be workshops. There'll be these conversations in a safe space to talk about all of these. Business is a beautiful thing, but it's filled with challenges. Community is everything. Having people to support you. My success in business from years comes from a community that I've built across the nation. People I can tap into that are larger than me, that have survived a variety of things. So it's very important to have in this space. So we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But in this season of Wine Down with Kev, I think we've come to a good place. I want to know how you've done such a fantastic job promoting the business digitally with social media. And I want to ask you, where are you with your AI journey?
Okay.
So we talked social media and digital, And you told me your daughter is threatening to terminate you because she wants the digital social media to go up. I go through that with my family. So
Yes.
let's talk about it. What are you doing? Because I love what you're doing. But what is the feedback that you're getting from Kennedy? What's the feedback you're getting?
That they want the social media page to look differently.
Okay.
They think that I'm too wordy on my posts. They think that my 60 seconds, there's like the attention span is 10 seconds. So, I was like, listen, you market to your demographics, I market to my demographics. Our demographics, we read fine print. We read everything. We're screenshotting, getting our glasses, and we're those people. So why can't we have a hybrid of both?
Right.
So for marketing, I know everyone says websites, everything. I will tell you, in 7 years, we have no website. We are 100% social media and word of mouth. And that's phenomenal.
Okay, social media and word of mouth. That's not the business plan when you promoted the salon in Harlem. I'm sure you had flyers.
We were out there on the sidewalk waving people down. That's old school, but that's grassroots. So, like I tell them, I do come from old school. I do come from grassroots. And when you talk about AI,
talk about it. Where are you in your AI journey? Where are you at?
So I've been reluctant.
Okay.
But I know that as I need to streamline and as we've grown and as we're bigger, I do need to get more into AI. So I have starting to use it. So we're just starting that journey for it. I guess being old school, I keep saying old school, because a lot of my techniques are old school. Mm-hmm. I am a writer. I do like to write. I do like to speak. I see people who are sending me things that I know are AI generated. Then I see them in person. I'm like, okay, so if we're going to start relying on AI, then maybe you should also brush up on grammar and how to speak to people.
Yes.
So I guess that's why I was reluctant. And then I think when I start using like a chat GBT, I'm like, I could write better than that. And because I think that I could write well. And when I put something, I'm like, oh, that was good. So I'm like, so that's that. So that was me being the defiant person. I'm like, they can't write better than me. No, they can't. No, they really can.
Do you have your own custom GPT yet?
No.
Okay. We'll talk about that offline.
Yes.
Custom GPT is, we'll create a GPT for you to speak in your voice. Mm-hmm. So it kind of clones you. Could you imagine having someone that thinks like you, that doesn't take no for an answer, that writes like you write with the right level of empathy, care, and concern? That would be amazing. All right. We'll talk about it. I do know that it's super important to start going into AI. Yeah. It's beautiful. Well, you have blessed us. I love the fact that your journey goes from grassroots to today. I love you've built an entire business on social media without flyers, no direct mail. You're not mailing nothing out to nobody's house. You cold calling people? No. Just word of mouth, social media. It speaks for itself. You have social proof of your excellence. There is proof. You got some different stuff. The showstoppers, robots at events, cars inside the space at events, the beauty, the colors, your all white platform allows a conversion. I was there for Vanessa's event. I think it was mothers and daughters celebrating, but it was a lot of diversity. There were flags from many of the Caribbean countries. Mm-hmm. And when everything else is white, the new colors that interject, they just pop and they light the space up. Yes. So I'm looking forward to being there October 13th as a sponsor for this event. Mm-hmm. Small businesses on Long Island, you have been blessed by the best with this conversation. I hope you took as many notes as I did. I got a full pad. I should have had a full-size legal pad that I normally have. As we talk small business, one other thing that I know you're going to really talk a lot about this on October 13th as well, is a lot of times as Black businesses, we spare legal expenses because you can't. When you're doing those contracts, it is your backbone. So even if you don't have the money, you do have the resources through programs like you, through coming on October 13th. Don't think that you can just write your contract. If you don't have money for a lawyer, you have resources. You have
The resources on October 13th will be there. Your contract is your backbone. It's your skeleton to your business.
Mm-hmm. And it's not emotional. It's business. You talked about these buildings. You had all your certifications, your qualifications, your credit score, your documentation, your representation, all of those things. Who you are today builds up to who you want to be. So if you're listening to Michele and you're as inspired by Michele as I am, and you have aspirations of going from what you talked about. So I skipped a couple of things. I gotta go to it. Steve Harvey said, that thing that you do that your family compliments you for, that's what you should be doing. And you said get paid for your advice. You were pulled into this space. Everyone saw your quality long before you got $1 for it. Everyone said, from the block parties to the house parties, that this is where you belong. But you fought it.
I did.
Somebody else is listening out there that has a gift in a space. They're fighting their calling. What would you say to that person?
I would say start doing research. Start seeing if it's viable, if it's something that, when it comes to business, I think that you can have a business, but you also have to find a niche within that business. So if you do have a calling, explore it, but explore it wisely. Like you said, with AI, they'll research it for you. And then when you do have that business, because we could have 10 people who make the same type of pasta, but what's your niche? So whatever business you're going to do, find your niche. And your niche could be so small, but something has to stand out.
You shot the gaps everywhere. All your businesses, you shot the gaps. No black nail salon in Harlem. Shoot the gap. No event space. Shoot the gap. Come in where nobody's at. If I don't ask you this, if I don't say this, it's going to bother me later. But Bill Cosby said, whenever you have an idea, write it down. Mm-hmm. You don't know the timing. You don't know if it's today, next week, or 3 years from now. So your habit of writing things down, what would you say to people that have ideas in and out of their head? They know that there's a bigger vision. They know that their future self is calling them into greatness. What would you say? How has writing things down served you?
I get to revisit it. So like I said, I'm going to go back to that marble notebook. And I say marble notebook because those pages don't come out.
Yes.
They don't come out.
We plug in the marble notebook.
Yes.
Black and white composition, 99 cents.
Dollar Tree. Now I have a glitter one, a purple one. By the way, if you ever come into Bijou, whenever you see any purple anywhere, that's to pay tribute to my mother. But in my phone, I have categories.
Okay. There's
business ideas. There's things I would like to do. There's things that I need to do short term, long term, future goals. There's believe it or not, there's about 3 business ideas ready to go. So I said, once I'm finished, really settled here, I'm going to start something else. Another thing, when we talk about entrepreneurship, you don't ever think that you're at a pinnacle that you can just coast, because when you start coasting, there's 3 people right behind you. Mm-hmm. I still go to classes
every day.
I still go to classes, and there's a class that I wanted to do last week. I'm like, I just had so many events, I couldn't get to it. I was devastated, but I still go to classes. I still go to seminars. I still travel to different conferences, and I want to learn. I want to try to, stay on top of trends and try to, be ahead of trends. So the day that you think that you can sleep, someone's coming for your crown.
Lifelong learner. Michele, I have asked everything I want to ask. Do you have anything that you'd like to share before we wrap this up?
I just want to say thank you for having me. Like you said, it's my first podcast. It's something that I have wanted to do, but I've just not had the time to do. I want to start doing trainings and going to conferences and sitting on panels, because I feel like I do have a lot to offer. So that's something that I am looking forward to being a part of more. I do want to thank everyone who has been a part of Bijou. I want to thank my families, my friends, my support network. You don't need a large support network. You just need a small, powerful one. And I have a small, powerful one, and they are amazing. And whatever you do, just keep inspiring as much as you can. And when you hear a no, don't take it. Don't take it. So again, thank you for everyone who supports Bijou, who have already booked. We have bookings all the way into 2028.
Let's go.
We're not perfect. And if we're not perfect, instead of going someplace and bashing us, you see us, approach us, because we want to be what we can be. And sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we get into tunnel vision. We get into robotic mode because we have to get this done. But we're human. Come talk to us. Come have a conversation with us instead of, and keep our money with us. It's not by going and bashing us. It's by going and talking to us and having a conversation and seeing that we're just like you. We're just in a position that we're doing something to give back. We're in the service industry, and service industry is not perfect, and we're never going to claim perfection. But what we do claim is passion, drive, and hard work, and we're there for you.
Michele, phenomenal. I'm reading a book right now, listening to a book right now called Unreasonable Hospitality. You are demonstrating that your business in every aspect, just going above and beyond. God bless. I wish you all of the best.
Thank you.
Continued success. You've blessed so many people by being on this podcast. You've said so many things that people need to hear that's going to encourage that next person. It's going to encourage a person to take one more step, especially when they're in the difficult, dark parts of the journey. You're encouraging them to keep going. So thank you. Thank you. Put something nice in the comments to thank her. Thank you, and thank you, all of you, for tuning in to another episode of Wine Down with Kev. If you like what you heard today, live stream, YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, click subscribe, hit that notification button so you can be notified when awesome content like this comes out. We are in a brand new season now. We're in the small business, the AI season. If you want to be a part of it, follow an affair with flair, register to be a vendor at the Bijou Experience, and you can be my next guest. But don't sit on your hands. Do it right away. We'll be right back here in 2 weeks. Thank you. God bless, and continue on your journey.